It's our Veterans Day themed show here on the Screen Team, being joined by Sue with the Poplar Bluff Public Library. And of course, today we are celebrating Veterans Day, and we're also celebrating the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. So all of our movies today are World War I pictures. And we are going to finish things up with a movie called All Quiet on the Western Front. And I was surprised about this movie, Sue, because this movie, we are basically our main actors in this film are German. We are following the German side of the war, and I was kind of surprised about that. I thought we were going to be on the, I don't know if they were the Allies back in World War I, but I thought we were going to be on the British or the American soldiers, but it was the German soldiers we were following. I was surprised by that.
Well, the other two films we talked about, and one of the phrases that's constantly used by the soldiers, if you hear a tea whistle sound and they talk about the different, you'll know what kind of bomb is coming out. Mm-hmm. This particular movie says the same thing, but also from the German side. So, and
interesting.
But it was it's actually based in a book by Erich Maria Remarque, and he was a German, and the Maria comes from his mother's name, and he actually changed his name in order to do what he needed to do, and he does exactly what General Sherman said in the Civil War. War is hell, and he talks about how it is. But this film, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off there, but war is hell. But we don't see that in the very beginning of this film.
No,
we're in a I don't know if it's a college classroom or a high school classroom, but we see the professor getting up saying how amazing war is, and you're all going to be heroes. And we find out that it's a lot different.
It's a lot different, and that's exactly what Remarque does in the book, both the book and what they've done with the film. Amazingly, though, the book was written by a German. Mm-hmm. The screenplay is written by Americans, and the actors are American. You don't have German accents in this film. It's all American accents.
Yeah.
And it won Best Picture for 1930. Now, this is one of the first talkies. And what's remarkable about this film is how phenomenal it is in the context of that time, and the fact that we're looking at a time whenever America was looking at a more pacifist role in its relationships in world politics. So as a result, we want to talk about how bad war is and how awful it is and what it does to our young men, and what it does and how many people are killed and maimed. So, but this changes 12 years later, whenever we go into World War II. So you have to put the film in that context and where it is. I still am amazed, though, that a 1930 Best Picture done in the United States was written by a German.
Yeah.
It just absolutely just blows my mind.
I was, you're into a lot of the social issues of this movie. When I was watching this film, I was noticing a lot of the visual aspects of this film, especially the editing and the camera placement of a lot of the particular scenes, especially the war scenes. They were epic. They were brutal. They felt honest to me. There's a scene where one of our soldiers falls into to a pit, and he's got to, or a trench, I should say, and he's got to basically protect himself because the enemy is coming and they're charging. So you see what he's seeing. You see the visual of him in the trench, and you're looking up and you see the camera and you see guys jumping over the camera. I thought that was, for that particular time, to do that kind of shot was amazing. And then there was another time, another scene where it was warfare, and you see the camera just pan from one end to another, and I think they were shooting a machine gun or something like that. I forgot what it was, but it was just, that pan was incredibly long, but also very powerful, and something you didn't see a lot in those type of movies.
Right, and I agree with, and back to what he was talking about, the person being in the trench and that camera, you have to realize those cameras were huge then.
Yeah,
I mean,
good point.
And it makes me wonder how they, I was wondering how they shot that in order to get that kind of visualization. When you talk about brutal, it's very graphic in some areas in terms of, and I'm going to describe one where a shell comes in, blows this you see this guy coming toward one of the barbed wire fences. The shell comes down, hits him, and all you see left on the barbed wire are two hands hanging about this height. And that just, to me, was just, it's gross, but it's real. And I
Yeah.
think it goes back to what we were talking about. So yeah, we're talking about this professor at the beginning who says, what a glory, living for the glorious, Weimar Republic of that time. And instead, what we have is broken young men, our young
Yeah.
men who've lost their lives.
And you see one of the soldiers come back after he's been in war for a couple of years, and he's having a hard time adjusting to being back, because he knows that some of his friends are gone and some of his friends are still over there fighting, and he goes back early because he just can't take being I guess in the real world. It's a remarkable scene and a remarkable movie. Now, I would say that, it is 1930s. It is, when you're watching it, you're like, a lot of the dialogue might be a little bit campy, but that's what it was for that time. That was a way a lot of those movies were.
And I agree with you. I would even campy, stiff, whatever you want to say. But
Yeah.
part of it is we've got to look at the fact this was one of the first talkies that came out.
Yeah,
And so they
it's
were
very true.
still learning to use the dialogue and to have that naturalness in front of the camera.
That's very, very true. Very good point, Sue. All right, before we go, one last time, recommend All Quiet on the Western Front, Oscar winner. If you're into film, if you want to learn more about film, if you want to study film, this is definitely a good film to do that with. Sue, before we go, what's going on at the library?
Well, today, as a matter of fact, at 2 p.m., we have a panel discussion on World War I. Pat Hall from the Veterans Hospital is going to be talking about how veterans services came to us as a result of World War I, or to the point that they are now. There was always some kind of a pension. I would like to say that my grandmother benefited because she was widowed whenever, early on when my grandfather passed away, who was a World War I veteran. And so my family talks about the fact that it kept them from starving sometimes, I think, in order to be able to have that little bit of pension that came as a result. But not just that, is that day our veterans are going to meet, as they usually do, at 11 a.m. in front of the Coliseum, and they are going to be there at the Veterans Wall. And at 11 a.m., you're going to hear the bells ring 21 times. Now, I thought, why are we doing this for 21 times? Well, the bells will ring in order to be able to, it's like the 21-gun salute that we give our soldiers. And it's going to be ringing out on the PA system that'll be going all over Poplar Bluff. And I think that I have this feeling that when I hear that, there will be chills going down my back.
It's very, very powerful. I've only been witness to that one time when my grandpa was buried at Jefferson Barracks. They did a 21-gun salute for him, and like Sue said, it's chilling, it's powerful, and it's tears of joy and sadness all at the same time.
I agree with you.
It's very, very powerful. So, Sue, anything else we wanna promote before we leave?
Well, I just want you all to come to the library and check out the films. I think that, as Chris has said before, we have both the old and the new, and I think that it's good to know what happened in the past, and it's good to know what's happening now, and so those films do that for us.
Amen to that. She's Sue. I'm Chris, and of course, one last time, we want to thank all of our veterans out there. We'd also like to thank the veterans' spouses and children for their sacrifices as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you once again for all the freedoms that you guys help us with, and have a great, great day. We appreciate each and every one of you. For Sue and Chris, we are the Screen Team, and we want you to know before you go.